I'm gonna explain exactly how you can achieve this look in your videos. What you're looking at right now is the same setup we used to shoot this commercial, which is generating roughly $30,000 a week in sales. It was also shot in my home office, and altogether, the gear I used cost just about $2,500. Now, a big reason for the success of this commercial is the messaging, but the other component is the fact that it looks great and establishes professionalism. A big issue we hear from people trying to shoot commercials on a budget or just YouTube videos is that they've got a great message and they know what to say, but they can't figure out how to make the videos they're shooting look professional so that they're viewed as a trusted advisor in their industry. This can be very costly in terms of the selling power of your ads. If your ads look professional, it's way easier for viewers to trust you as the authority in your market, which of course leads to more sales. So in order to achieve this look, most people make the costly mistake of going out and buying expensive cameras, lenses, and lights, but are frustrated when the quality of their videos only marginally improves. What will really help them is just a few simple techniques that don't cost money or require expensive gear to accomplish. So first, in this video, we'll cover all things gear related, from the cameras and the lenses down to the tripods and the microphones used. Next up, we'll talk camera settings. Then after that, we'll talk lighting, which I think is the most important part, so I'd stay tuned for that. We'll then specifically cover our audio capture, our pre-production and production process, so basically how we plan for these shoots and then how we actually film them. And that'll be it. You'll know absolutely everything you need to shoot videos that look exactly like this. But before we roll into any of the juicy details, I'm gonna have to ask you to please smash that like button underneath this video. This simple favor really helps us with the YouTube algorithm, so if it's not too much to ask, it would really make us happy. Okay, so the gear. This is a one camera shoot using the Canon EOS R with a 17-35 f4.0 lens. The camera is mounted to the Glide Gear TMP100 teleprompter. The teleprompter is mounted to the Kayer BV30L 72-inch fluid head tripod. We're using two professional lights. Our main key light is the Westcott Solix Apollo Orb, and our rim light is the handy dandy Yongnuo YN300. Our audio recorder is the Zoom H1N field recorder paired with the Rode SmartLav Plus. And that's really it. All of the gear that it took to create that one commercial that's been viewed multiple millions of times online across YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, by no means is any of this gear top of the line cinema quality. In fact, I really did everything that I could to make this setup as affordable as possible. I have a Canon 1DX Mark II, which is like a $6,000 camera, sitting on the shelf over there. I have lights that are much more expensive, Manfrotto tripods, higher quality microphones, way better lenses, but they're honestly unnecessary for this type of shoot. And I like to prove to people that you don't need expensive gear to get high performing commercials or just great looking video content. I know a lot of people out there probably aren't at a point in their life where they're just gonna go out and drop $6,000 or $7,000 on just one camera. So I like to think these videos focused on filming great quality content on a budget is for you guys. So up after gear, let's talk about the specific settings used. The basic ones, as always, 24 frames per second because we're not using any slow motion here. We want our shutter speed to be roughly 2 times what our frame rate is, so we have it set at 1/50th of a second. Our aperture is as wide open as it can go on this lens, which is f4.0. ISO is at 400, which is the native ISO for the Canon EOS R. White balance is set manually, not automatically, to daylight balance since our two primary lights are both 5600 Kelvin. Our lens is almost all the way zoomed out at around 22 millimeters. Autofocus is in face tracking mode to help capture my crazy movements throughout the video and keep me in focus the entire time. Now lastly, the two settings I really want to talk about here are resolution and picture profile. So I film all of these videos at 1080p resolution in C-Log. So the first question you may ask is, why the heck do I film in 1080p when I could easily film in 4K? Well, two reasons. First off, the Canon EOS R, which I'm filming on right now, has a crazy big crop factor in 4K. As you can see here, we're now filming in 4K and the image is really zoomed in. So zoomed in that this video is practically unwatchable at this point when the camera is this far away from me. So I'm gonna actually switch it back right now. Now, while a lot of people will bash on the EOS R for having this crop factor, I don't really mind that much. The 1080p looks great on this camera, and I look at the crop factor as helping me get more out of my existing line of lenses. For instance, when I was filming in Costa Rica, when trying to capture the wildlife, the 4K crop allowed me to turn my 70 to 200mm lens into a 119 to 340mm lens. This made getting those faraway animal videos so much easier. Either way, I also don't film these videos in 4K because I have no desire to deal with the data nightmare of storing all that 4K footage. I shoot a disturbing amount of content from this setup in my home office, and if everything was filmed at 4K resolution, I would quickly go bankrupt due to the amount of external hard drives I would need to buy to accommodate all of that 4K data. This also brings me to another point, why I use my EOS R for these shots instead of my Canon 1DX Mark II, which is like 3 times as expensive. Well, it's really simple. The 1080p on the 1DX Mark II looks terrible. I feel like it's not talked about enough. The 1080p footage on the 1DX Mark II is extremely soft and just cannot even compare in the slightest to the 4K footage it can produce. Right now, I'll actually roll 2 different clips on the screen. One is the Canon EOS R in 1080p in C-Log, and the other is the 1DX Mark II filming in 1080p as well. Despite the fact that the 1DX Mark II is way more expensive, I think the Canon EOS R's footage looks much, much better. Then finally, I briefly mentioned it, but the last thing I want to talk about is the picture profile. I shoot in C-Log with the EOS R. This means the footage is extremely flat out of camera and doesn't really pop at all. It might sound counterintuitive, but this actually retains a lot more dynamic range in the image and allows me to make it pop that much more when I start doing my color grading and my color correction. The key here is you need to ensure you have proper lighting. If you crank the ISO to accommodate for the bad lighting, the C-Log footage will quickly become too noisy because it just doesn't have enough data. We're filming in 8-bit here, not 10-bit, so without getting overcomplicated, it basically means the more you try and push this footage in the color grading process, the more it's gonna fall apart. So if you're filming in C-Log, make sure you have good lighting. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, how much better is the C-Log footage compared to the regular footage? Is it worth the additional time required to post-process it? In my eyes, yes. Right now, you're looking at 2 different versions of the same clip. On the left, I have the regular 1080p footage that I've color corrected to look as good as I can get it. And on the right, you can see the C-Log footage, which I've color corrected and color graded to look as good as possible. In my eyes, the difference is big enough to justify almost always filming in C-Log. Honestly, the time it takes to grade C-Log isn't even that significant given this entire video is one shot. All you need to do is get that one interview clip to look the way you like, and it stays consistent across the entire video. And that does it for the settings. Now let's talk about the lighting, which is my personal favorite part of really any scene. Now, I really love the lighting setup that I used in that commercial. It's really similar to the one that you're looking at right now in this scene. But overall, aside from how it looks, my favorite part is how freaking simple it is to set up. We're literally just using 2 professional lights, one of which that only costs about $80. When it comes to lighting, simplicity is always a top priority on my list. I'd rather think smarter, not harder when it comes to lighting. So first up, we have the Westcott Solix Apollo Orb. This is a daylight balanced LED light with a nice softbox on it. I currently have it cranked to the max as far as the output goes. I have it placed in front of me about 25 degrees to the left and then another 35 degrees up. The key here is it hits the bright side of my face and casts nice, soft shadows across the other half of my face. Now you'll notice how I just said soft shadows. If you aren't familiar with this, you can basically have 2 different types of light, hard light and soft light. We use soft boxes on our key lights to create soft light and hit our subject's face with flattering light. Right now, I'm actually gonna get rid of the soft box on my key light and you tell me how you think it looks. It doesn't look great, right? All the shadows on my face, they have much harsher edges. It's not this soft roll off like we had before. Keep this in mind whenever you're filming something that requires a key light on the subject, which is almost all the time. You wanna make sure you have diffusion. If you don't have a softbox, see if there's anything that you can use to actually soften that light. Inside of our 14-day filmmaker program, we actually show how you can do this with a white bed sheet. There are tons of creative options. Just know we want soft light on the face of our subjects. Our second pro light is a super budget-friendly light that I highly recommend, the Yongnuo YN300. This is another daylight balanced 5600 Kelvin light. It's placed at about a 45-degree angle behind me and to the right, again raised about 45 degrees from my body so that it's shining down on my shoulders, head, and so on. As you can see right now, it gives me a nice halo ring of light along the side of my body, making me look like an angel who's just descended from heaven. Just kidding, the real purpose is to separate your subject from the background. If I didn't have this ring of light around the edge of my body, I would much more naturally blend into the background, and the scene would look flat and compressed. It wouldn't look three-dimensional, which is what we want to go for with our videos. Now you'll also notice this light in the commercial and right now doesn't have any diffusion like a softbox, because we actually want it to be a hard light. This helps make its effect that much more pronounced. And that does it for the professional lights used in this scene. To give you some perspective on just how important lighting is, this is the scene you're currently looking at without the key light. As you can see, super dark and unusable. Having a nice soft key light really is key to creating a nice looking scene. God, that was such a dad joke. Now, just to keep walking through this visual, we'll do the scene without the backlight. Now, not as dramatic as taking away our key light, but you can see I'm absolutely blending into the background because I don't have that separation. It's really easy to forget about the small things in your scene like the backlight, but I really can't stress enough, it's extremely important. Up after that, we have two really simple practical lights. Two desk lamps you could probably buy at the store for $15 a piece. In the commercial setting, the light on the shelf helps to illuminate the 1DX Mark II above it. Aside from that, we have another desk lamp clamped to the edge of my desk in the same spot where it is right now, shining straight up, hitting my office wall. Now, this is actually a super important component of this scene. And if you look back at almost any video I've filmed in this office, I always have that light shining somewhere. The reason it's so important is because it adds one thing to my scene: color contrast. And by adding color contrast, it adds depth. You might not realize it, but color contrast is everywhere in film. Whether it's commercials, TV shows, Hollywood movies, color contrast is everywhere. And of all different types of color contrast, one of the most popular types you can have is the orange and teal look. There's naturally a lot of orange tones in skin, and by having the walls of my office be naturally blue, it adds to that orange and teal look, and throwing that light in the back only increases that. What a lot of people do is just throw a basic orange and teal LUT on their footage, but I like to create this color contrast in real life by using different color temperatures of light, and that $15 desk lamp does exactly that for me. Now here's what it looks like without those two desk lamps, and as you can see, the color contrast is gone. We've also lost a lot of detail in the background, and I think that's a pretty cool background, the shelf, all the camera gear. By taking out the other desk lamp, we really don't see much of that back there, and the scene as a whole becomes less engaging and dynamic. We can turn those back on, and now that we have both of those lights back on, you tell me in the comments below. Did you notice the color contrast? Do you like it? Do you prefer the scene with the lights off? I'm really curious because I have heard some people say they like it better with those lights off. Now that we're done talking about lighting, the next most important component of that commercial, this scene, and I think really any video, is composition. So let's walk through the composition. Now, if I have to boil down composition to focusing on one thing, in my eyes, it's depth. I probably sound like a broken record when it comes to that word, but we really want to make our image feel as immersive as possible, not flat and boring. So as far as composition goes in creating depth, we shoot with a wide angle lens that captures a ton of different information about the scene. In the foreground, we have my desk, the computer, me sitting at the desk and talking. Then in the background, we have the shelf with lights, camera gear, picture frames, and so on. This is a lot of dynamic and visually engaging material that helps lock the viewer's eyes on the video as soon as they see it. Remember, this is a social media ad, something that is extremely easy to skip over. The more engaging we can make our image, the more likely we'll be able to capture their focus and hopefully earn a sale from them. Now, this applies to everything, not just ads. If you're creating travel content or YouTube videos or commercials for a brick and mortar business, everything needs to catch the viewer's eye. If you can't do this, nobody's gonna pay attention to your content, so you really need to focus on composition. As far as aligning your subject goes, I purposely place myself off to the left in the image somewhat following the rule of thirds, but also because I want to ensure that I have another half of the screen freed up for motion graphics. I love motion graphics more than most people, and I think they're one of the most powerful ways to get info across to the viewer. Making sure I have a big chunk of the screen freed up for motion graphics is always a huge priority in my mind. Now, if you're interested, we have a ton of training on creating sales-driven motion graphics inside of our 14-day filmmaker program. Check out the link below to learn more. Aside from motion graphics though, another huge aspect of composition is simply making sure your frame is neat and organized. Believe it or not, my desk never looks as clean as it does when I'm filming. I always do a quick run through of my scene before I hit record, making sure I've taken absolutely everything that doesn't need to be in the frame out so there are no distractions. At the end of the day though, key thing here is to make sure you always have a purpose for every aspect of the composition in your scene. You want to make sure nothing is in there by accident. If it's in there, it should have a purpose. Up after composition, we have audio capture, which is pretty simple. Like I said earlier, we have the H1N field recorder, a really inexpensive and reliable audio capture tool that I'm actually using right now to film this video. Paired with that is the Rode SmartLav Plus. Now just a quick note about this setup, in order to get the lav to work with the recorder, you need just a little adapter. It costs like $5 on Amazon. From there, all I use is one of these little rye coat stickies. I place the lav on the sticky and press that against the inside of my shirt. From there, I'll check the audio levels and make sure that even when I'm speaking as loud as I can, I'm only hitting -6 dB on my recorder. You don't want to have your audio go over 0 dB because that's peaking and it's just going to sound terrible. Now, I'll admit, as with all parts of this setup, we could definitely increase the quality of the audio, but for the sake of the commercial and relaying my information to the audience, I think this microphone does an amazing job. And when we're talking about filming and creating content on a budget, this thing is killer. Now, finally, what I want to talk about in this video is how I actually create them from start to finish. A lot of people ask me how I'm able to get my thoughts condensed and actually deliver a ton of content in a relatively short video. They say whenever they try to film themselves, it ends up being a completely disjointed mess where they ramble on and on. Well, you may already know this about me, but I actually script out every single word of practically every single video I ever shoot. It's a time-consuming process, but it allows me to make sure my videos are extremely concise, straight to the point, and just easy to watch. A lot of this comes from my background in creating commercial content for local businesses. When I first started, I would let the business owner talk on camera. I just asked them questions, and they would just ramble on and on and on. Once I got further in my career, I realized I had to do market research and script out the actual content of the commercials to make sure the business owners knew exactly what they needed to say, and as an end result, the commercials ended up selling their products and services much, much better. After I script out the video, whether it's for an ad or just a YouTube video like this, I'll typically read through it out loud 1 to 3 times depending on how long it is. This helps me pick out errors that I want to change and also helps me practice so I sound more fluid on camera. From there, I load the script up on my iPhone app, Prompt Smart Pro, and then place my iPhone on the teleprompter, which has my camera loaded behind it. The iPhone app scrolls through the script with me as I talk and makes the entire process extremely simple. With that being said though, don't you dare for 1 second think I don't mess up the script at least 100 times per video. Our main key lot, I'm going to, the issue we hear from people in offer, but they can't figure out how to make the commercials. Oh my god, can't say words right now. I constantly mess up the script and have to restart certain lines all the time. In a perfect world, it would be nice if I could make it through just one script without ever messing up. But in today's world of YouTube and social media content, jump cuts are extremely normal and acceptable, so I don't worry about it too much. Now, if this was a big budget commercial for a client, I would film with at least 2 cameras. So if my talent ever made an error, I could cover it up by simply switching from one angle to another. And that's it. That does it for this entire breakdown. If you want to see my full editing workflow for these types of commercials, not just in Premiere Pro, but also Final Cut Pro and DaVinci Resolve, you should join our program 14-Day Filmmaker. This is a disturbingly value-packed program that has over 25 hours of content inside, teaching you everything you need to know to create amazing video content. Whether you're just getting started with no experience or you have years under your belt, this program will help you shoot better commercial commercials, travel videos, YouTube videos, music videos, and really whatever the heck you are filming. We have over 8,000 students in the course leveling up their filmmaking skills and helping one another inside of our private community of content creators. This honestly is the most affordable and streamlined program that has this level of content in it. If you're interested, you can get lifetime access today by visiting mrpaulxavier.com/14day filmmaker. But that's it. Thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.